Hello, how are you? You ready for an awesome project? This is Jilly Bling, and I am doing a series of 3 different cards using one bundle. And this is for Avid Stampers. I'm Stampin' Up! In many other publications, they have 3 different types of stampers. Casual stampers, which are easy cards, great when you're getting started. They're good if you want to make a whole bunch of them. And then the next level is you take that same card and you add a little bit of extra embellishments or ribbon to it, and that's called a stepped up card. And then there's Avid cards where you put a whole lot into them. This is an Avid card. Yeah, isn't that pretty? So this series of 3, they're all Avid cards. And if you purchase the bundle through me before August 14th, I would love to send you all the supplies to make this. Because if you buy the bundle, you already have the stamp sets. And I'll have things die cut for you. No stamping done. But that's okay because you have the stamp in the bundle. So this is the second project. And the first project, maybe I'm just in a foil mood. The first project is this one here. Isn't that beautiful, black and white? So that's the first one. This is the second one. The third one probably will not have foil on it because I really overdid it on this project. But I have to say, I love this project. So this, the front of the card, I saw it online, J. Soriano. mitosucrafts.com, M-I-T-O-S-U crafts.com. J. Soriano made this, and they have a lot of great YouTube videos and tutorials. They're just a lot of fun to watch, so if you have time, check them out. But today we'll be making this. And I have to admit, it is 2:45 right now, and I got started on this earlier today, and I got so caught up in making it that I realized, my gosh, I've had something to drink over there and I haven't even touched it, just because I got started making this and I haven't taken a minute to slow down a little bit. But here it is. So we'll be using Earthen Textures bundle and textured floral, mostly for the greenery in here, this green dye, and then the green dye right back here. I'll show you those a little closer in just a minute. And then stylish shapes, and that's for the word label, that little frame. Okay, so this bundle in the catalog is a product suite. The suite means you get everything on this page, which is designer paper, wavy trim, and then the bundle. So 4 items. 1, 2, 3, and then the dies are the 4th item. Or you could get just the bundle. Either of them will qualify you for the free card kits. But isn't this just beautiful? This has a lot of neutral colors mixed with some regals. And a lot of the samples at first were using the paper, which works perfectly with it. But so far, all of my projects are opposite. Not using the paper. I've used the paper on plenty of other projects, and it's beautiful. Okay, so like I said, it's been an adventure making this. I hope the video won't take too long. So these 2 little dies from what is that die set? Floral textures, textured floral. Textured floral, that's what these are from. So I'm going to cut those out in garden green. There they are. The words. Let's just do the words. Let's do things as they come up here. This is words paper. And I'll stamp that. The colors, the ink colors we're going to be using, Memento, Pretty Peacock, and Garden Green. So for the words, let's use Pretty Peacock. And I still like that same words, the thank you. I use that on the black and white card too. It's really nice. I love the font. I love the playfulness of the underline under the A and the O. Fun, fun. Okay, so let's cut this out. you. Okay, there's that. And then when you look at the words, see this little piece of pool party paper? That's these two little bits right here. And we're going to trim them to even smaller than this, but we're going to use the same die that we used for the words. So here they are. They're different sizes. This one, obviously, I cut it crooked on the paper, but I have a little trick to making them the same exact size. We'll go through that in just a minute. Okay, what else? These papers, and there's 6 of gold foil. This is for the inside mechanism. So 6 of this big leaf, and this is for this little lattice. You're like, what is that for? First of all, it's just cute, so you had to put it somewhere. That is for decorating this little planter. So there's one there and one there. And I'll warn you ahead of time, because I know I'm going to struggle with this again. Trying to stick, I put glue on this, and having glue stick to the ribbon, and then kind of pushing it down to have it stick to the paper. It's like, okay, it's kind of not sticking to the ribbon, but you just have to work with it just a little bit. Okay, so 2 of those. Let's get these cut first. So here's all those fans, pretty. And here's those 2 little lattice pieces. So we'll use those in a minute. Let's see what other papers are over here. And once you have all the elements cut, it's like, oh, this is a breeze. So this paper, which is part of the Earthen designer paper pack, that is for the tall pot right here. So let's cut that out. And what else? That's good for now. So there's that. And this is for the planner. This is for the inside of the planner. You're like, what do you mean the inside? So when I turn this upside down, keep in mind it's going to look ugly when you look at it upside down. I'll make sure that you can see this. See that center part right there? That's what makes the greenery look like, oh, there's top level, then there's this level, and then there's that level. There, you could see it. So looking at it from the front, you really have to be inspecting it to be able to find that little piece. And you know, some of you that make box cards all the time, I know you're really good at this, and this is my first time. So it's probably a little bit not as good as what you do, but it works for today. It's a start. So these pieces, let's just work on these while we're at it. Take this piece, and I'll put all the paper cut sizes on my blog, and my blog is jillybling.com. So take this, fold it in half, and this is from the fishing designer paper pack, and that's another nice package of paper. And the background, I'll pull it over here in a minute. The background on the inside of the card, this right here, that's from that same pack of paper. Okay, so I just folded that in half. And now with my paper score trimmer, I'm going to score 1/4 of an inch here. And on the other side, and then same on this little paper here. But once you have all the paper cut sizes, all of this will go together this quick. So far it's not so bad. Okay, so I have mine marked. This one, pink, it's going to cut. This one is a score. Just because you don't know how many times I have messed up. So 1/4 of an inch on this paper cutter, which is great. If you don't have this one, it's worth getting it. I'm going to go to this first line here's the cutting zone, and I'm going to the first line right outside. That's 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch, and I'm just pushing medium hard. If you push too hard, sometimes you crack the paper or you even cut it, especially with the thin designer paper. So that is all the scoring we need to do. Are you just itching to make the front? I have some hints and tips on that too. So you can see I just, with my fingers, push that into a Z. And it doesn't matter if you want it going the other direction where this one is out, that one is back. It doesn't matter. So these are going to go back and back. And on this project, I have a lot of little tips. So if you want to make it, I suggest watch the video, get all the pieces done that you know that you can do, and then come back and let's make it together, because the tips really do help. Okay, so these are pieces for the inside and inside. You're like, wait a minute, there's 2 card faces. There's a reason for that. Because look how big this is. It's 2 of them. So let's put those together. They're both going to be folded in half. Folded in half. Tomorrow is Nails Day. What color should I do? In the comments, leave comments. And nothing crazy like orange. I ain't doing orange, and I'm not doing turquoise again. That was crazy. As I said to my nail guy, this just is confusing to me. When I look, because I had all of them different colors, it was too much. Okay, so I'm going to put glue in here. It doesn't matter if you put it on this side or on this side, whatever you're in the mood for. Okay, and because I did glue, I could get this close to where it needs to be. You could tell up here it's off. And then because it's glue, I could kind of just smush it into place. It'll scooch around a little bit. I'm mostly trying to make sure that that's in the corner, and this is flat and that's flat. That's good enough. I see that there's a little bit of a gap, but that's okay. And let's see, we have these designer papers here, here, and here. And then this one goes right here. Okay, so let's put this one on first. Oop, running out of glue. Just because there's no stamping on it, it's easy to put it on now. There's stamping on it like this one. I'm going to wait, because if I mess up, I could flip it over. Okay, and then these panels go on here, but before I put them on, I'm going to fold this over. Oh, it's going the other direction, but that doesn't matter. I'll fix it in just a minute. It goes this way. There we go. And that looks a little nautical. Maybe I'll put that where the pots cover it up. More fission paper. And that just goes right in the middle of that panel. Then one more. And that goes in the middle of that panel. Okay, and this is going to go right here, but I'm not going to put it down until after I stamp on it, because I have a tendency to do a whoops. But for now, I'll just put a little adhesive here. Not that I'll forget that that goes there, but it just makes it look a little more complete while we're working on it. Just a little bit, like 1/4 of an inch. Okay, just hold it in place. Okay, so we have the card base done. Let's see, I think we need some greenery. So there's this. So the greenery, there's 3 pieces that are stamped. 1, 2, 3. And they're stamped on vanilla paper. So let's do that. It's these 3 pieces right here. And those are stamped in garden green. Garden green. So there's this one. And what's nice is there's dies to cut all these out. This one. And this one. Okay, caught an edge there, but when I cut it with the die, you won't see that little bit. Since we have this paper out, what if we do this pot in peacock? And then also this long pot in memento. So are you saying in your head, memento? It's because we're going to color it in. That's how I get those cool colors on it. Peacock. And memento for this one. Right there. Okay. And you know, when I stamp this, I'm going to hold this up here close in just a minute. I noticed that there was some, it looks like a fern or greenery stamped on it. See right down here how it looks like little leaves? I'm like, well, I kind of like that. So after we cut it out, I'm going to use a stamp to put a little bit of extra detail on that one. And then with a little, there's a little extra gold. See this fern? And these dies are in the bundle. So those are ready. So I think we have all of our pieces. Let's work on this one with coloring it. So to color it, and what's interesting about this die, I don't know if you could see it better, which one, is it's smooth at one end, and then at the other end there's just like a little bit of a lip. See right here? That little bit. And then this end is smooth. And I don't know if that's a base or if that's like when they're doing the pottery and there's just like a little top edge. I'm sure it could be either. Okay, so let's color this one. And that is colored with blends. So I'm going to do Lost Lagoon on the outside edge. And I'm not really taking time to do any blending. I just want to apply the color. And because the stamp has so much already going on, blending isn't really needed. And then next I'll do a layer of Lost Lagoon Light. Oh, this is dark. Okay, well, I'll go back with Lost Lagoon Light. I was thinking that looked a little bit light. Redo. Okay, there's dark. Light. And I'm trying to allow room for Pool Party to come in on this one. Pool Party, dark. And then right in the very middle will be Pool Party Light. This is my kind of coloring. Very easy. And there it is. And, ooh, there's a lot of color on there. I'm going to let it dry just a little bit before I stamp this stamp on the pot to give it just a little more detail. See how this one has the stamps on it? But this is, at this point, it's like cool to the touch. It's saturated with ink. So this has garden green ink on it. I know I'm going to use the black Memento to stamp on here. So let me get it cleaned. I was using Stays On, so it's going to stay dirty, which I'm fine with. Some people have to get theirs cleaned all the time. I think if you just keep on cleaning it, it gets clean, but I'm fine with it being dirty. It doesn't transfer or anything. Okay, that one's stamping. This is for, that goes outside of the planter. And these are the pieces for the inside. Let's build the planner. This is front of the card, planner, front. Okay, so to build the planner box, hold on. Before you stick this paper in here, let's put the ribbon on it and then the gold detail. So the ribbon is Pool Party Gross Grain Ribbon. Just take enough, allowing a little bit to wrap around. And I'd suggest putting this on with glue dots. And when you put the ribbon on, it's not going to be like snug. It's going to be a little bit loose and almost buckling. And it might drive some of you crazy at first, but there's a reason for that. So, glue dot. And I'm doing glue dots because they're a little bit flexible. If you put it on with glue, it's stuck there. If you put it on with Stampin' Seal, it might have a little bit of a give. But because the card has movement, I need probably a little bit more give than usual. So this I'm just going to set on here for right now. Is there upside, downside? Oh, there is. This side looks shinier. That's not as shiny. So I'm just going to set it here, making sure that it's in the center. And then that's what's going to go on the card. So I'm just going to loosely touch these, knowing that, see how there's like a little pocket under there? It's a bit loose, but that's on purpose. Okay, and we can attach the gold decorations after we get this put on and put together. So I'm going to put liquid glue right here at the top and here. So if the ribbon needs to move just a little bit, it can. If I put glue on there, it would be permanent. Now I'll show you why. Like right here, you can see that the ribbon is a bit loose. So glue, glue. And the people that make box cards, you probably have all kinds of tips on doing this to make it a little bit easier, but it's not too bad. So this piece here, the part with glue on it, I want that to go right here into the crease. So just start out, and if you put it down really low, it's obvious because of this pretty peacock border. I'm going to put it there, and I'll show you close up what I'm doing here in just a second. Sticking that on, letting it dry just a little bit. Because if you put this planter down lower, it would really stand out and you wouldn't have your border when you open the card. So right now, put glue right in there. And then this piece, I'll show you how to do that easily. See this right in here? Okay, so that's there. Here, I'll fold it over. See how it's right there in the crease? And then this piece is in here. Stick down. Okay, so to do the other half that has glue just waiting, when the card is closed, this part is open. The glue is showing right there. Close it up like that. Hold on, hold on. This, close that up, and close the door. Just because when your card closes, you want it to be perfectly flat. Okay, let that stick down. And see how the ribbon doesn't look as loose anymore? Okay, so now that that's done, you can see, let me get my snips, right here, how it's stuck on there. And then right here, how it's stuck in there. Okay, so we'll just give that just a minute to dry. The next step is to put these little pieces on. Like that, and then one right here. And after you put your planter box on, it won't fully open, but that's okay because the card is, it looks good. But you definitely want it to close so you can mail it. So it'll open that much. That's fine. Okay, let's get to putting our little lattice pieces on. And I'm going to put glue on most of it. Okay, all of it. And you know the glue will touch the ribbon first, and you really want it to hang on to the paper, but you have to wait just a little bit until the glue starts getting tacky. So just let it sit there, think about hanging out with the ribbon, and then in just a minute I'll go through and I'll squeeze it. If you've got like a binder clip or anything, that can help too. There, stick. Okay, and now I'm going to do this little lattice. Same process. Just let it stick to the ribbon and making sure that this is parallel with the top of the planter. And then, okay, the top is sticking. Probably when I push the bottom, yep, the top pops up. You just have to keep working with it as it's drying. And even if it doesn't get all the way stuck, I know it's stuck to the ribbon, which is good. I'm just going to let it sit there for a minute. Okay, let's work on this piece right here. So this piece is going to go in here. So when you put it in on the inside of the planner, if you can, don't have it way up at the top, but maybe right here. 1/3 of the way up, and then 2/3 is just nothing. That's a place to put the stems. And even if you put it midpoint, that's okay. If you put it really low on there, it doesn't hold the plants very good. So up high is best. So I'm going to put glue on this side and this side. Let's get this going for now. Okay, hold on to that. And I'm going to put it in this way. I'll show you from a different angle. This way, right in here. And when you put it in at first, it's probably going to be a mess, getting glue all over, but that's okay, because you can't see it. I got one side stuck. Can you see that? This side, about in the middle. Oh, I think I cut this one wrong. Hold on. No, it should be okay. Okay, and after you get it starting to be stuck, go ahead and close this and then really push it down. Okay. Yeah, I cut this one wrong. It's just, it's too short. It needs to be a little bit longer. Like a 1/4 inch longer. So I'll put the proper size on my blog. So 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. Let's try that again. Little glue here, little glue there. There, it's a 1/4 inch bigger. And so I'm just putting it anywhere at this point. And then when I close this, now it's acting too big. There it goes. Okay, I'll show you it in just a minute. It's closer than what I planned, but that might be okay. See it in there? A little bit crooked. but just so when you close, it's flat. Okay, let me check my little lattice pieces. Phew, okay. So now let's build our planter box. So this one will be in front. So put just a little bit of glue at the bottom and put it on that inside vanilla piece. That was just giving me a hard time. Okay, that's not hanging on by much. But the next piece I'm going to put on the back side of that mechanism piece, and that will help hold it up. So that this one here, I'm going to put it on the back side of that vanilla. So it'll stick on right down here. Kind of fill the center space. Okay. And then after this dries a little bit, I'm going to pick up this garden green leaf, put glue underneath there, and those two will be stuck together, which will make it a little bit more substantial. And then on the back, I'll do this real delicate one. And these just get stuck to the back part of the card, so that this one gets glue everywhere. I'll do the gold last. That's like the decoration. That's like earrings. And then this one, glue everywhere. That one's up a little high. Okay. And then this one is on the back, and it's going to fill in so you don't see so much of the designer paper anymore. Right back there, but against this edge. And that one gets a lot of glue. Not 100%. I think this is eucalyptus. So that goes right here. So at this point it looks a little sparse, but once you put the gold pieces in, it will look better. Okay, so let's stick these together. So I'm going to lift up this garden green, and wherever it might touch that fern piece, I'm putting glue. I have to let it dry before I close the card. Okay, so once those dry, that will stand up better. Okay, so let's decorate with the gold. This one can go right there, kind of fill in that gap. So glue at the bottom of it and on the stem, and then the rest of it I think is going to be just kind of floating. And I'll trim off the stem down here in just a minute. If I put glue on that, that might help those others stand up. I'll do that in a minute after the glue dries a bit. Then, same with this one. Wherever there's the designer paper showing like a gap, let's see, I think right here. Okay, my little lattice, they're floating. Okay, just let it dry. It's like, enough of that. Let's stamp the rest of that pot and just let those dry a bit. Okay, so here's the pot. And this one in Memento. And 2 stamps will do it. Just a little extra interest. Okay. And Garden Green to stamp this branch. Garden Green. That's going to go right about here. Okay, and then the words, you always know just what to say and do. That's in Peacock. I don't want it to conflict with the branch. There, that's good. Okay, and then this pot is going to go on some of my ink smudge down there with dimensionals. It finally dried. I think I have new markers. They're ready to roll. Okay, right here. Oop. See, that's a little high. I wish this was higher so that you could see more of the stem, but that's okay. Then I think this is ready to stick down. But you know, if you have a sand eraser, if not, you can get these from Amazon. It's just like a nail file. And it kind of sands off the top layer of paper. But if that's what it takes to make that go away, that's good. Or it might not work, and you might have to do another pot. Okay, that's done. And this is looking good. My little lattice pieces are still kind of floating, but I know that they stuck to the ribbon good. Okay, so how about a few pots right here, and then the inside is done. So these can go on with dimensionals. And knowing that this piece here, can't put a dimensional there. Not a dimensional where my thumb is. But I could go over here. I wonder what it would look like. No, that gets lost. Okay, and then dimensionals here, and then glue right there. And next is working on the front. And the front isn't, it's very impressive, but it's not as hard as you might be thinking it is. Okay. There, look at that. Fancy. Okay, so for the front, it's really fancy. Here, stay closed. That might crease my foil paper. Okay, so to work on this part, let's do the words. These two little bits. Oh, and to make these, so when you look at my little word, the flags in pool party, they're different sizes. To make them the same size, take this, turn it upside down. Just use the thickness of the die right here and cut off the excess. And we'll do the same with the other one, so then we know they're the same exact size. So I'm putting the tips right to here, turning it over, trimming it. There might be another way to do it, but that certainly is convenient, having that die right there. Okay, and then a little bit of glue on either end. And I'm going to attach these pieces. At first, I know they're going to be not in place, but because it's liquid glue, I could take a minute to move it around. So let's work on this one. Just a little bit of the stitching showing, and then same here. Make sure it's the same amount. Okay, that's good. To me, they look equal. So I'm just going to let it set off to the side and dry. Right on the markers. Okay, so to do these fans, when you use your die cut, it comes out like this with a long stem. You don't need to die cut the stem. To make the pattern work, we need to trim it a little bit. So when you look at the two of these, you could see I trimmed off that little stem, but also right here in this crease, I trimmed it from there down. So you can do this with your snips, or if you have a paper cutter nearby, use your paper cutter. And there it is. And before you start placing them, we're going to use 3 in the middle, and then these 3 are going to go on the edges. That was a whoops. I'll make sure to have the right size little stretcher on my blog. These 3, we'll just set them off to the side for right now. Get these 3 in place. Oh, pencil. Pencils for a reason. You could just eyeball it if you want, or if you like to be particular, use a pencil and your ruler to 2 1/8 to 2 1/8. Draw a line, and as long as you have the midpoint centered, the rest of it comes really easy. Okay, so just start attaching them. And I'll put pictures of this card on my blog. If you have it pulled up when you're making your card, you'll know you want just, oh, I see pencil lines in there, just a little bit of a gap. This one right up to the edge, a little gap. This is the same gap. Then when we go to place these on the edges, See how these two are parallel and these are parallel? If you have something to reference, you don't have to lay them all out at first. Okay, so this one, I'm going to do the bottom one next. Just because it's easier to have them perfectly centered. I do the top one, the bottom one, because those are right where they should be. That tip is just fine. And now this one, I'll just make sure that these two amounts are equal. Centered, centered. And see how this amount equals that amount? Okay, so for the next ones, it's going to go upside down and you'll trim it right into the middle. And again, you could do it with your paper cutter or your snips. Doing it with your snips isn't hard at all, just because there's that little groove and your scissors naturally follow the groove. Okay, so this piece is going to go way high in the corner, and it perfectly has that little, these two leaves and they're parallel to each other. So get glue way in the corner for sure. We don't want that lifting. And this paper, it takes just a bit to dry, which is very convenient, because if you're looking at this edge, you might need to kind of scooch it. See how easy it scooches? Just to get it right in place. Try not to get glue on your foil though, because that never comes off. It just makes a dull spot. Right here. Looking at these being parallel, then it going right against the edge of the card. That looks good. Maybe scooch it up just a little bit. Oops. Okay. Parallel right here to the edge, and I want this tip right at the bottom, or close to the bottom. And then this one right at the very top. So when you fold your paper, there's like a little bit of a lip and edge from the fold, and I'm going right against that. I don't want to go way into the corner, because then the edge of this gold fan, the leaf, will be hanging over the edge. Like, see right here how it's not hanging over the edge, and that's because I left just a little bit of a gap right here, just right where the fold created that lump. Oop, too low. All of a sudden you could start telling how it needs to be placed. Be a little higher. I'm looking at this right here to make sure it's parallel, and then there's about that same amount of a gap. This one should be way at the bottom, right down here. And then those are parallel. That's it. It looks fancy. Fancy. Okay, and then the words go on simply with dimensionals. And you could really make it all fancy, but the inside, that has enough going on. We don't need any more fancy. And when placing this, definitely want to cover the bottom of this one, but I want a little bit of the peacock showing right here and over on this side. Okay, I think that's it. Have the front done and the planter box. Okay, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe and like button. Have a great day.